going on, geeks, and welcome back to the Geek Man Cave. And guys, the Geek is back. Yes, guys, after an extended break, didn't expect it to be that long. I thought to myself, now all the end game kind of content is done. I'll take a few months out just to have a creative break and think of how I can extend, change the channel. And boom, it's been 7 months since I did my last video. And guys, I just want to say a huge thank you to all the support the channel still had while I've been away. And guys, I am back. I've got a ton of Star Wars content over the next few days just before Christmas. Plus, I'll have a new video every single week in 2020. So guys, there's one big reason I'm back, and that is because the Rise of Skywalker is out. And as a lot of you know, I am a huge Star Wars fanboy. And if I'm honest, I have never been this nervous to go and see a film. And guys, as you've probably seen, the Rise of Skywalker hasn't had the best reviews. There's a lot of hate. The dark side is very strong in the comment section on a lot of videos. And guys, I was terrified to see this film. But as you've seen from the thumbnail, I actually enjoyed Rise of Skywalker. So guys, this is going to be a quick, spoiler-free summary of my first initial reaction to Rise of Skywalker. And then tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time, I'll be doing a live video where you guys can join in the comment section and discuss what you thought of the film, what you like, what you dislike. We can talk full spoilers and talk about where the future of Star Wars is going to go. So back to my review. So guys, Wednesday at midnight, I went to see Rise of Skywalker with my wife. And like I said before, I was so nervous for this film. The thing is, when I go see other films, you kind of, especially a series of films, take the MCU for example, you know their vision is they want to get to a particular point. Their story writing, it all flows. And the MCU works so well because it's all linked to the Infinity Stones and Thanos. Every single movie they've got interlinks to adding to that story to get to a final point. So by the time Endgame came around and we watched Endgame, we knew exactly where this was going to go. Our Avengers were going to find a way to try to stop Thanos. They were either going to win or they were going to lose. It was simple storytelling. And then all the awesome epicness that happened in that film, it kind of flowed through because you had that backing of a story. My problem with Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, this part of the trilogy, is that there doesn't feel any continuity in this film, in these series of films. 7, 8, and 9, it's kind of like somebody's picked up a book and started writing a story, and then halfway through they stopped the story, gave it to some other guy who's got completely different visions, creative ideas for this story, scraps a ton of things from the beginning of the book and writes the middle section of the book. Then for some reason the book goes back to the first guy, he writes the ending, scraps a lot of things in the middle. The story element of Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, the Rey trilogy we'll call it, is all over the place. Now, this is one reason why I was really, really nervous, because when I watched Force Awakens, I absolutely loved it. I cried, loved all the things. It was amazing. It was like watching the original Star Wars films all over again. And then the more I watched The Force Awakens, it really is generally one of the Star Wars films I've seen before. It's very similar to A New Hope. There's a lot of things in there, and you pick up on it when you watch it more. But my love for Star Wars as a whole lets me enjoy that film anyway. Then episode 8 came out, which I was ecstatic for. The hype was there. We had all this nostalgia rush and oh, everything's amazing. It's Star Wars. It feels like the old films. Oh, we hope this is not too much like Empire. And then they went completely different. They took a lot of other creative ideas. And don't get me wrong, there's a ton of things I really like in The Last Jedi, but I think as a whole story, it doesn't work. And it doesn't link well enough to episode 7. There's a lot of character developments are kind of thrown out the window, plots and ideas that are thrown out the window. So when you get to the end of episode 8 after seeing 7 and 8, you've got one film left and you have no idea where this is going to go. What are we going to find out about Snoke since he's gone? What are we going to find out about Rey's heritage, because apparently there's nothing to it? Where are the Knights of Ren? We haven't seen. What's Kylo going to do now? I can't believe Luke's gone. What are they going to do with Leia? Oh my days, Carrie Fisher's passed away. How are they going to fit in Leia now? What are they going to do? Are they going to do it like they did in Rogue One? Where's the story going to go? How are they going to sum all this up? Oh my days, the film was only 2 hours and 22 minutes. How are they going to do it? This is kind of the thought process I was doing at about 10 to 12 Wednesday night before seeing the film. I was having a proper panic attack thinking, oh my days, how are they going to do this? And like the thumbnail says, guys, I came out of the cinema content. I don't know if it's because I went in there with such a negative frame of mind thinking, oh, this is going to be a train wreck, it's going to be horrible, it's going to ruin everything I love about Star Wars. And what it did, what J.J. Abrams did, he took what had happened in 7 and 8 and tried to condense everything into 2 hours and 22 minutes. Now, I came out of the cinema happy and content. I thought that they tied Star Wars up in a big bow. Don't get me wrong, it's a bit like how I wrap Christmas presents compared to how my wife wraps Christmas presents. The way she wraps them, they're all amazing. It's all perfectly all folded and the bow is perfectly done and it's wrapped up and everything's beautiful. Mine is a bit like I've got some kitchen foil and just scrunched it together. And that's what I feel with Rise of the Skywalker. Even though there is a lot of really good things, I think these good things are crushed together to kind of end the film, 9 films, and wrap everything up and say, right, that's done, let's move on, let's do something new. And what they did wrap up and what things they did, I was happy about. Don't get me wrong, please don't get me wrong, geeks. There is a ton wrong with this film, and I feel like the more I watch this film, the more I'm going to pick on it, much like I did with Force Awakens. But there was a lot of moments in there, a lot of fan service things that I really loved. Little tiny things that I thought were brilliantly done. And for JJ to pick up this final film, to come back, to do all of this that he needed to do in 2 hours and 22 minutes, plus figure out what they're going to do with Leia, because obviously their ideas for what Leia was going to be in the third film had to change because of, sadly, Carrie Fisher's death. There was a lot, like I said, all those problems that they had to sort out. And I think they did a reasonable job of putting it together. Now, again, don't get me wrong. There is a lot of problems with pacing. There's a lot of problems with character development. But I found myself not annoyed at this film for it, but more annoyed that 7 and 8 didn't set this up. Because this makes me think, what would this have been like if JJ had written the story as a whole and done 7, 8, and 9? I think we would have got to a better place. I think the structure and character development in this would be a lot better. But I came out of the cinema content. I was happy with what I'd seen. A lot of things that were filled in, I thought, yeah, that makes sense. And I love the fact that there was a lot of things in there that linked to Star Wars lore. They had really thought about a lot of things that had happened previously, and not just in the films, in Star Wars mythology, concepts, ideas, history, video games. There's a lot of things in this film that I really related to. And I think not more so sense that I really enjoyed this film and it was an amazing film and I can't wait to get it on Blu-ray and watch it all over again, which I am excited to watch it again. But I feel like it's kind of them saying, we've wrapped it up as best as we can. We've ended this saga. The Skywalker Saga is finished. There's closure. Let's move on to the next thing. And I am generally excited to see where Star Wars goes. Like Yoda once said, failure is the greatest teacher. And I think that's the case. I think they've realized that these films haven't been the success they wanted to. Disney has kind of said, let's get this idea, let's push it out, let's get all this money. And I not want to shut down Disney or anything, but I'm happy that it's done so we can move on to things like The Mandalorian, like the Obi-Wan TV series. And funny enough, my wife said to me, she said when we got out there, she went, I really like Rise of Skywalker, but I feel like I've just watched a 14-hour Netflix TV series in 2 hours. It feels like everything that was in that was completely rammed together and thrown at us at light speed. And I feel that maybe 7, 8, and 9 shouldn't have been a film. Maybe 7, 8, and 9 should have been 4 or 5 series, a bit Game of Thronesy, where we have this grand, massive TV series where we can really focus on character development. And guys, I'm really excited to talk to you about some of the character development things that happened in 9 that if they had had the time to explore these, that I think would have been an even bigger payoff and it would have been a much better series of film as a whole. And again, that's my ending words on this spoiler-free review, is I feel that the failings of this film are to do with the failings of this 7, 8, and 9 trilogy, Rey's trilogy, as a whole. So guys, again, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's so good to be back doing videos. I've got a ton of content coming up that I cannot wait to share with you. And guys, remember, it's your cave, your rules, and I'll see you next time.